Hey fellas, my name is Mattsi. Project Zomboid did the thing I've been yammering about for like 3 years and added animals, finally. And I know I'm late to the party, just shut up. We got pigs, sheep, cows, chickens, rats, rabbits, deer, raccoons, sort of, and still no ferrets. Indystone, what are you doing, man? My disappointment aside, animals do provide plenty of benefits to the wayward survivor, such as companionship, mental enrichment, bloodshed, and nourishment. We'll be getting into most of those in a minute. First, why should you bother with caring for animals? I don't know. Really what this boils down to is a never-ending cycle of meat, dairy, and eggs for as long as you can maintain a small farm. Other benefits include
baby cow.
Alright, let's start with character creation. You take the livestock farmer occupation. That's all you got. This allows you to start with a +1 to agricult, giving you 100% XP when agriculting. I'm sure I'm saying that right. Also gives you a +3 to animal care, granting 166% XP gained when doing things like milking, shearing, and some other things that I'll talk about later. And another +3 to butchering, granting the same 166 XP when butchering animals and granting you higher quality meats. You also know how to craft barbed wire when you start. Cool. Of course, yeah, you can start the whole ranching process without livestock farmer, but it's gonna be a little more grindy, and I'm just warning you. Take it easy. Now, let's talk about where to find animals, since you can't really interact with what you don't have. Largely, livestock will spawn at barns and farms. Usually these locations already have a trough and enough space to start growing wheat and other grains for them. Echo Creek seems to be a great place to spawn if you're wanting animals quickly, although I'd make the argument that anywhere is a fine spawn point if you know where you're going. I'm gonna rapid fire some locations because they're not hard to find and they aren't really the main focus of the video. The main focus of this video is animal abuse. Southeast across the river, there's a small barn and it seems to only spawn sheep. Southwest from that location is a bigger barn full of livestock. Northeast of the main road is a giant chicken farm, and I mean a giant chicken farm. Honestly, it's even a great base location just because of the tall fences. Further east is a large field with a shed. Sheep and maybe cows are there. If you go west on a dirt road, you've got more fields, which is pretty cool. Large barn northwest of Echo Creek. Again, sheep and cows. And there is an industrial farm found between Echo Creek and Irvington with tons of space for animals and tons of animals for you to begin taking care of. However, my recommendation is to bring an animal trailer and transport these animals a few at a time somewhere else. It's fine as a base location, you can make it work, but the problem I have is everything is indoors. The troughs will fill themselves with rainwater, and I will speak more in depth about that later, but because of this roof on this barn, yes, it is a huge barn, there are so many animals. Just move them somewhere else. I don't think it's worth it. You could just move them right outside of that location and use that space as your home base if you wanted to. That rant aside, there are also smaller places for you to look into near Riverside, a few locations near West Point, a farm south of the barn in Muldrow. There's a lot of places. So I'm gonna trust you know where to look to find a barn by now. I'm going to be very hands-off at the moment, and I believe in you, champ. Now let's talk briefly about the items you will need. In no particular order, a rope would be very useful to lead larger animals around. You don't want to be picking up and deadlifting a cow, do you? So, attach a rope, lead them on through. An animal trailer can be used to transport animals a long distance, obviously. Now, you can use these by leading or carrying an animal to the trailer, right-clicking the trailer in a very specific spot, check animal trailer, add animal. It's that simple. You'll also need a scythe to cut large amounts of grass. This is helpful for feeding animals when you're not really in the full farming swing yet. It'll give you grass cuttings, and those will last you a decent amount. We'll talk more about that in a minute. I'm saying that a lot this episode, and that is because I have it structured and I'm still going off script every now and again. Oops, not fixing it. You'll need troughs. Every animal needs a trough. I guarantee it's pronounced trough. It's highly recommended you have one for food and one for water. You need to have them separate. You cannot mingle. And everything else you really need is largely animal specific, which we will break down later. So just hold your horses for now. Speaking of horses, they're not here yet. We're moving on. There are no horses. But what is here is a great server hosting service and the wonderful sponsor of the channel, Ping Players. More on that later. I told you I'm saying it a lot this episode, but this is contractually important. For now, let's look at what every animal needs and how to care for the large majority of livestock. Obviously, food and water. I feel like that one's pretty cut and dry. If animals don't have food and water, they will die. Do you want them to die? Don't answer that. We just mentioned gathering grass cuttings to feed your animals, but you shouldn't only feed them grass. You can also feed them hay, vegetables, fruit, barley, and animal feed. Now look, technically you don't need a trough for feeding. You can just leave it on the ground. But it does look cooler if you got the whole setup, you know? Putting the food on the floor is like having a keyboard and a trackpad instead of a normal mouse, you disgusting cretin. Quick note about grass cuttings, it is often mentioned that storing grass cuttings helps people get through the winter to keep their animals fed. I imagine the same thing goes for stockpiling fruit and vegetables, but I've yet to see grass cuttings rot or get stale in any capacity, so it may be worthwhile to spend some time hoarding grass to touch lovingly in the winter. Like I've been saying, you do need a trough for water. Animals will not drink from ponds or puddles, only troughs. Most of the time you can find 1 or 2 troughs in a barn nearby your newly acquired livestock. It is very rare that a trough doesn't spawn, and you can move these with the pickup menu, but you will have to carry both sections, components, I'm not sure what the game calls those. Anyways, you move those outside, and that way when it rains, it'll fill up on its own, and that is one less chore you have to worry about. And believe me, ranching is a chore. At least I'm pretty sure this is ranching. It's like, I know farming in Project Zomboid is just gardening. I still stand by that like 4 years later. Now, look, everyone wants to feel loved, and animals are no different. Luckily in Project Zomboid, you can pet the dog. Can also eat it, I guess. Really bad analogy, actually. Oh. This action will increase player acceptance and make animals less likely to run from you like women do. It'll also raise your animal care level, but there's a catch. You can pet them as many times as you want, but the experience only triggers once per day per animal petted. Other things that raise your animal care level are shearing sheep, milking cows, collecting eggs, and giving them treats like an apple, which only works for the cows, I found out, because I wrote the line and then I tried it, and sheep cannot eat apple, chicken cannot eat apple. I assume pigs can, I didn't try with those. Honestly, pigs were so secondary. They don't do anything. Anyways. You can lure them with an apple though. If you have an apple, you can right-click an animal, and select lure and apple. And allegedly, what that does is it brings the animal towards your location. Never worked for me though. Anyways, whatever. Now look, I should not have to say this, but animals require shelter. Like, all of my bad Uma Musume runs require the glue factory over their head. Anyway, chickens need a hutch for survival, and you can build that real quick and easy. Oh no. Other animals need a proper shelter, and size does matter here, at least in terms of zoning. If your enclosure is too small, it will affect animal growth, and you will lose big on this very profitable investment, you dummy. Need to head over here and use the zoning menu to define your livestock's living area. This will largely keep them in one specific spot with or without a fence, but let's be honest here, that fence provides a huge peace of mind. Most of the time. I have walked outside to see a cow in my yard when I was growing up, and I spent a night or two looking for a missing horse. That was fun. And both of these incidents required the animals to escape their fenced-in enclosure. Now, surely you don't have to worry about that in Project Zomboid, right? Yeah, stressed animals will attack the fences and escape, and you know, if they're stressed out and gone, they're going to produce less resources. So good luck with managing their mood, man. And before we move on to the animal menu and the breakdown of the specific livestock, by default, zombies will not attack your animals, but the noises that your animals make will attract zombies, so you need to take necessary precautions. And again, this comes back to the fence. If there is no fence, but there are animal and zombie, that animal is going to bolt, brother. Just food for thought, I suppose. Now, to access the animal menu and see more information about your creature, you just right-click your pal you plan to butcher in cold blood later and click Info. This should largely be the same between animals with minor differences, but here you can rename your best friend. This menu also shows you the type of animal, the breed of the animal, gender, age, health, appearance, livestock zone, and attitude, which is like a Pokemon's nature, or how many times you've pet your chow or yeeted it into the mountain. I don't think a lot of you are going to get that joke. Just gotta accept it. You can also see their player acceptance, which I've noticed chickens are more accepting of you and cows aren't so excited about your existence in the beginning. But that's where petting them comes in, like I said, and I guess feeding them and taking care of them, but mostly petting. Before I break down the animals one by one, I would like to say thank you to Ping Players for sponsoring the channel. I'm gonna talk more about them later, but for now, chickens. Now chickens, much like in real life, are an incredible investment, very low maintenance, and I've even got my friend here to back me up on this.
Yeah, sure, man.
Now chickens give you a constant supply of eggs. These eggs, if fertilized, will eventually hatch. though I haven't found much conclusive information on how to hatch an egg. From what I'm seeing, you've got two options. You let them lay in the enclosure ground and let the rooster do his thing, I guess, or slam all your eggs violently into a fridge and wait. You might see a chick eventually. You can also go outside to do that. To know if an egg is fertilized, all you need to do is hover over it and check the information tooltip that shows you how much hunger it's worth, etc., etc. You'll see a little option that says fertilized. I have never seen it yet, so to get your eggs from the hutch, by the way, you just walk up to it, right-click, and press Hutch Info. From there, you'll have your brain food, your endless B vitamins and omega-3 fatty acids. And I'm looking up the benefits of eating eggs for this joke, and dude, I have to start eating more eggs, like, honestly. Oh, there is one quirk about chickens. Sometimes they perform a technique known as shadow clone jutsu. There's only really one solution for that. Do you see where this investment pays off yet? I should hope so. Oh, yes, maintenance. You do need to clean their hutch from time to time. You can check how gross and disgusting it is by checking your coop roost. Right-click the hutch and click Hutch Info. To actually clean it, you'll need a source of water, notably in your inventory, not just out near you, and either a towel, dishcloth, or mop. And do not forget to close your hutch at night. It's very important. Stardew Valley may not have dangers for your animals, but Project Zomboid does. And we're moving on to cows, your big moneymaker right here. You can milk this one for all it's worth, assuming it's been impregnated, meaning you will need cows and bulls. Good luck sourcing that one. The bulls you keep might be your undoing, by the way. They like to charge at you, and I'm not sure it's like when a cute dog or a goth girl does it. I think they intend to harm you. Luckily, it only happens when player acceptance is low and stress is high, so you can look out for those and largely be safe. Word to the wise though, if you plan to have two males in the same farming zone, be very good at running. And after dealing with all this melodrama, you've got your milk, what do you do now? Well, you build a butter churn and you never struggle with maintaining your weight again. You drink milk instead of water, you have steak every night. Who cares? It's your apocalypse. Stockpile butter to get you through the long dark winter, but butter doesn't spoil. I hope that sinks in for you faster than it did for me. Speaking of getting you through the winter, sheep are an excellent source of wool, which you can gather by shearing them. Duh. Preferably you use electric shears, but manual is fine too. Wool can later be used for both tailoring and leatherworking deeper in their respective tech trees. And if pregnant, sheep can also produce milk, which can also be churned into butter, adding to your butter empire. It's all a cycle. It's all one big loop. Now, this goes for both sheep and cows. If an animal is stressed, it does have a chance to break away from you when you're shearing or milking it. Obviously, you can't shear a cow, but you knew that already. To avoid this, just get your animal care paper up, dork. Or make sure your animal is in a loving and safe environment. Don't argue with your spouse in front of the animal. Don't yell at the animal. Don't hit it. Am I still talking about ping players? Yes, I am. Just one more time, and then I won't bug you. Legally speaking, those two sentences were enough to fulfill my contract. Their AI-powered hosting service allows you to set up a server in minutes for games like 7 Days to Die, Palworld, and Project Zomboid. Check the description for my link to learn more, and thank you again to the Ping Players team. Very, very quick question. Have you guys ever played Dead by Daylight? Butchering is a lot like that. You choose your target, do not let them escape, grab them, and slam them down on the hook. After that, you can gather resources from your butchered animal, assuming you have some kind of knife on you. But I did skip a step in this comparison. You have to kill the animal, and then slam them down on the hook. It's kind of like a reverse of Dead by Daylight in that respect. But if this feels heartbreaking to you, try naming your animals Cow 1, Cow 2, and so on. Or just name it after someone you don't like. What's wrong with me? Huge note here, do not do this near other animals, ever. You want your butchering station to be relatively far from your livestock. Reason being, when they see you butcher their friend or child, they will rightfully become stressed out. Frankly, I would also be stressed out from this. I would do it for less. Anyway, taking the head of the animal grants you a villainous choice. You can either cut it open or leave it there to stare at you. Cutting it open gives you the animal's skull and brain to be used for crafting materials. And taking blood really doesn't do much, but it's pretty cool to have a bucket of blood in your house. Maybe I'm going through a phase, actually. The amount of meat you gather is governed by your butchering skill. The higher the skill, the more meat and the higher quality meat you will collect. And taking the hide of the animal grants you leather to be used in leatherworking. At this point, you should be pretty well suited to take care of animals for now. So go out there and don't get gored by a bull, okay? See ya.